In other global news that we are tracking at this hour, foreign ministers from the group of 7 nations are meeting in Japan today. The leaders have assembled at the resort town of Karuizawa to discuss a host of global issues, which also includes a united approach to China. On the agenda of the crucial meeting are 3 key issues. Number 1, the war in Ukraine, China's aggression towards Taiwan, and the tensions in the Korean Peninsula. At the meeting are ministers from the United States, Japan, Germany, Britain, France, Canada, Italy, and a representative from the European Union as well. The discussions will set the stage for a leaders' summit in Hiroshima next month. The leaders arrived at the resort town by bullet train from Tokyo. They attended a working dinner on Sunday night. Meanwhile, host Japan is also ensuring that regional challenges are on the top of the agenda as well. China is at the front and at the center of all the discussions. Now, just days ago, Beijing concluded major military drills around Taiwan, which it considers as a part of its own territory. The focus will also be to persuade North Korea back to nuclear disarmament talks. Japan, along with South Korea, have been confronted with a series of missile launches from Pyongyang. This includes the launch of its new solid-fuel intercontinental ballistic missile. Apart from this, Tokyo will also emphasize that its belief that Russia's invasion of Ukraine heightens the need for vigilance in Asia. Japan has repeatedly reiterated this stance, saying that security of Europe and that of the Indo-Pacific are intertwined. On the final day, the foreign ministers will discuss nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation. Japan hopes to demonstrate the group's unity in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. It also aims to formulate programs that can increase connectivity with the global south.
In addition, as emerging and developing countries called the global south are facing various challenges, we would like to show that the G7 is ready to work with them to tackle those issues. So from this standpoint, I would like to have a frank and in-depth exchange of views on various topics like we did last night, over the course of 3 days, really in the meeting in Karuizawa. Those topics include Ukraine, the Indo-Pacific, including China and North Korea, Iran and Middle East, Afghanistan and Central Asia and Africa.
Apart from this, the environment ministers of the 7 participating nations also held separate talks on Sunday. Some big and new collective targets for solar power and offshore wind capacity have also been set. They also agreed to speed up renewable energy development as well as also move towards a quicker phase out of fossil fuels. Our next report gets you more details. Take a look.
G7 ministers have set big new targets for solar power and offshore wind. Climate and energy ministers agreed on Sunday to speed up both developing clean energy and phasing out fossil fuels after 2 days of talks in the Japanese city of Sapporo. Renewable fuel sources and energy security have taken on a new urgency following the Ukraine war. But the climate and energy ministers stopped short of agreeing a 2030 deadline to phase out coal, which Canada and other members had pushed for. And they left the door open for continuing to invest in gas, saying it could help ease energy shortfalls. Japan's Trade and Industry Minister Yasutoshi Nishimura.
In the G7 meeting, we acknowledged that different countries around the world have various economic and energy situations, and the path to carbon neutrality by 2050 should be diverse. The important thing is to aim towards net zero, our common goal, and that was recognised.
The G7 communique pledged to collectively increase offshore wind capacity by 150 gigawatts by 2030 and solar capacity to more than 1 terawatt, which they called a drastic rise in clean power. They agreed to accelerate phasing out unabated fossil fuels. That is, the burning of fossil fuels without using technology to capture the resulting CO2 emissions. That would achieve net zero in energy systems by 2050 at the latest, the ministers said, promising concrete and timely steps towards scrapping coal. Canada said unabated coal-fired power should be phased out by 2030, and Ottawa, Britain and some other G7 members committed to that date, Canada's Minister of Natural Resources Jonathan Wilkinson told Reuters. Additional plastic pollution should be cut to zero by 2040, they said, bringing the target forward by a decade.